Hi, I'm Danny Cordova with Northwest Spiritual Living.
I'm Sherry Hoffman with the North Seattle Spiritual Sangha.
And I'm Susanne Marie, your invited guest. You're a happily invited guest. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you, Susanna, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So, I thought I would just start out with a kind of a warm-up question here. You visit us a few times here in the Northwest. We've loved having you, absolutely.
Mm.
And we just kind of wonder what your impression of the spiritual community is up here, us people in the North Sangha, in the Seattle Sangha, we'll say.
Mm. Well, it feels like another home to me, a heart home. And if you didn't have quite as much rain, I might even make it a home.
Right.
I love the community, and it's growing. The community is growing. There's so many beautiful heart souls, and I feel so welcomed. And I love coming up. I come up twice a year, and I look forward to it. It's something I really look forward to. It makes my work really worthwhile to be able to see you all. And it feels like the evolution that's happening, our growth is mutual. It's happening with individually and with one another as a group.
It does. I know what you're saying there.
Yeah, it feels like a group growth.
Yeah. We're so looking forward to having you back in June.
Thank you. I am too. We're gonna have a good time. Yeah.
There are many who wish you were here more than twice a year, that's for certain.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm happy to come more often. I also know you have some other.
This is recorded. This is being recorded. Did I tell you that?
Danny's getting.
Oh, right. You're going to play it back to me. But I also know some of the other people that you bring up, and some of them are good friends of mine, and so I think it's a really nice. It's nice to have a variety of teachers and teachings. Because we're also varied, and we also have so much variety within each one of us. So to have a certain teacher perhaps have more of a heart-centered approach. Well, I'm guessing most of them do, but just the way that it's introduced and spoken to, what kind of languaging, what kind of personal experience the teacher's bringing. I think it's really important to have a nice eclectic variation.
I agree. Okay, I'm going to dive right into one of my questions.
Okay.
What does the human experience mean to you?
It's basically on one level. I'd like to say it's all I know, but it's not quite true, right? Because we're also spiritual beings. But I think we're really a blend. We're meant to be a blend so that we can remain in harmony with ourselves. Because I think if we lean too far over into the human experience, we're losing something so vital and important that actually gives one the space to really be. And if we lean too far over into being a spiritual being, we can very easily bypass the human experience and avoid and use spirituality as an avoidance to deeply feeling and being connected with others. So for me, the human, what this offers being here is being able to learn how to be both in a form. So the formless in form. And they're meant to co-arise. They're meant to arise together, the formless and the form. And that the freedom of being formless supports form, and being in form gives us the capacity to have evolution, to grow and to learn and develop. So I think it's, you've probably heard as well, other spiritual teachers throughout time say that this is a very graced and blessed opportunity to be in a body. And it's because we're able to actually really deeply live the fact that we are spirit in form and wake up to that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. I wasn't expecting such. I didn't think you'd be able to expound like that much on that small question. Brilliant. She's brilliant.
Thank you. That was very eloquent.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for the question. Yeah.
Okay, so I've heard you speak of people in terms of how open they feel to you or how open they are, and not so much to the degree that you feel they're awakened or enlightened. You know, in those terms, is this common language that you use? Number one, that how open people feel, and so I guess I'm asking really, what does openness mean to you in that way? I found myself using that word a lot too, and it's got a bit of a feeling and vibe that I've probably got through your transmission. I just loved it when you brought it up, and but or is it just simply an alternative measuring stick? You know, it's not enlightenment. We're not saying that. We're not saying, you know, these well used and worn out phrases. So this is something new. So I don't. Is there enough there for you?
Yeah. No, I think it's a great question. Yeah, I do really shy away from the word awakening. Like someone is awakened or enlightened. I don't mind the word awakening because to me that's a process, you know, and awakening to me is a lifelong journey. I feel like I'm still awakening. I'm awakening into what's possible. And so within what's possible there are points in time where we may have more of a aha or a dimensional shift that can be called an awakening. But I think that we are meant to have many awakenings and to keep opening and awakening to what's possible as things fall away, as our separate self falls away. So to say that, to me, it's like, how open are you? How open am I? How open does the group feel? To me, that's how emptied out we are. How emptied out a person is of conditioning. And of course, we're always going to have conditioning, but conditioning that's disharmonious to the system, that doesn't support our functioning, right? So the type of conditioning that is painful, that has been made innocently out of confusion about being a separate self, or conditioning that arose out of a painful contracted moment, trauma, or some such, right? So the openness is really describing our body and mind and heart, how emptied out it is, and as a result, how fluidly being what we are, the natural state, how fluidly it's flowing and being expressed through a person. So rather than seeing someone as awakened or unawakened, to me, that's not helpful or useful. I've met some people who say they've had awakenings and have had deep awakenings, and still there are areas that are closed and are needing work. So to me, it doesn't really compute. It doesn't really work for me to say someone is an awakened being, because I've seen shadow in a lot of people. Here too, there's shadow. Shadow is what is unconscious to itself. So it's not anyone's fault. It's not what's wrong. It's just unconscious to itself. It hasn't been seen yet. We all have places that have not been seen. So to me, saying what's being open, where are we open to? It allows and gives permission to that which is still being worked on, what's closed.
I hear you saying it's an evolving process.
It's an evolving process. And it gives so much more permission to be in evolution. It's a fluid thing rather than more of a fixed thing, something we're working towards being this endpoint. There's no endpoint.
Thank you. All right. Okay. What do you feel your greatest contribution is in this lifetime?
Wow. Nothing too hard now. That's a hard question.
It's a hard question.
My contribution. Well, first of all, I would have to say on a really,
You're not spiritually. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, just it's spiritual and not everything's spiritual, right? On that level is that, well, my being a parent, right? I have 2 children, an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old. And I knew as a little girl that I wanted to be a parent and that I would have a boy and girl. So I came in deeply wanting to experience being a mother. And so that was definitely part of my soul desire. And I loved it with all my heart. And I love them. So, and they help me grow and open to my unconditional love for others, you know. And they bring their own soul qualities and they have grown me. They really do view the world with such like a non-judgmental way that it really supported my growth too. They welcome people in such an open-hearted way, including those that are disenfranchised and on the fringe. I have these kids that are just very open-hearted towards all kinds of people. You know, I think a lot of the youth is that way. So, so my being able to support their growth and what I've gained from it too has been such a contribution for me and to them. My other contribution, I would suppose, so simultaneous to that, I was deeply wanting to wake up to my true nature. And I have wanted that since I was young, like, you know, a teen. So I was doing that at the same time. They weren't mutually exclusive. And so now, since that has been realized inside on a deep level, my contribution, I think what happens with life is that when it's fulfilled what it's come here to do in anything, let's say as an artist, like you gain a certain level of expertise, musician, or even as a parent or a gardener, or let's say awakening is what you're after, you know, realization. I think that when it's been reached to a certain degree, we're always evolving, of course, and growing and deepening in what we love. But then there's a natural expression of wanting to share it, right? It kind of just naturally expresses and turns outward, and it starts to go. And it does it automatically. You don't even have to try. It could be on a small level, you know, of meeting people and just talking over coffee, you know, and just radiating what has been realized. Or on a larger level of like, this is what I do for my livelihood and for a living. I put my whole self into it. So, but I don't see it as a mission. I don't view myself as having a mission, or like I'm here to fix people, or that there's something wrong with people and they need me, or in anything like that. It's more like it's just a natural, truly a natural arising that I don't, it just feels like creative energy. And I respond to invitations. So when people want to meet with me or invite me, then I respond. I'm not an ambitious person. So my contribution isn't like, oh, I feel like the world needs my contribution. It's more like it's just a natural expression of of what I am, who I am.
I hear that.
Thank you.
You always mesmerize me when you're talking, so it's like I forget that I'm in the bit of a driver's seat here. So we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.